What's up, folks? My name is Melvin, and welcome back to this amazing place that we call the internet. Now, just say hello to JD. Oh, now say goodbye to JD. All right, so since me and John were kind of pretty built up from the last week, like we didn't really have time. Like he had some personal things going on. I had some personal things going on, so that means we weren't able to actually do the podcast last time. So this is kind of your a little bit social commentary here today, which actually I enjoy doing. I might do a little bit more of as their own separate videos instead of podcasts, but I like talking about them with people, so that's why I do it with John because I actually really enjoy talking to him. It's one of my favorite things to do is just talk about social, climate things with him. But, I could do it by myself. It's not really a big deal. So, just recently, ex-Google employee who wrote like a 10-page paper about diversity, and he tried sending it to, coworkers to, to sort of to say, hey, this is what men do differently, this is what women do differently. And, in it of itself, yes, men do things differently, women do things differently. That's just the natural things. They're not really equal. They are different. They do different things, It, even if they're simple, even if they're simplistic, even if they're similar in almost every other way, some of the things that they're different makes, you know, deals with different outcome. That is nothing new. I don't think people are surprised whenever I talk about this. Seriously, even in college, every time I bring this up, yes, they do things differently. Does that mean they should be discriminated based on the things that make them different? No, it doesn't mean that. But it does mean that if you put them on average, that means they do things differently. I talked about this in the last podcast where there are not very many women doing computer science. In every single computer science I've taken, whether it's high school or college, there aren't that many women. All right? Now that is something to bring up. That is something that you actually need to bring up. That women don't do computer science. You need to bring it up because if you don't, how are you going to fix the problem? So, someone like I think believe his name is James Damore, if he's bringing it up, hey, they're doing things differently, then yeah, listen to him and see what's going on. But, I love how a lot of these websites are calling it anti-diversity. It's not anti-diversity to bring up what makes people different. You kind of have to do that if you want more people to, be in computer science. You have to find out what makes computer science different to the point where women don't want to do it. I don't know why this is so confusing. I don't know why this is an issue. But even a bigger issue in my eyes is that, yeah, you can be fired for those different opinions because, yeah, apparently Google's firing was legal. And I don't see how in any way that could be legal. One thing that has not, his ideas and his way of thinking, for the most part, do not get in the way of his job because before that memo, he wasn't even fired. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. I don't know if he was being close to fired. Maybe. That could entirely be possible. But I know for a fact that he was fired mainly due to this Google memo, and when he got sued, apparently it's legal. And that really scares me. Because people should be allowed to have different opinions even if you don't agree with them. I believe that's one of the main things about freedom of speech is that you have the freedom to say what you want. People may argue, oh, but freedom of speech is not the same as hate speech. Yes, true. I think with in terms of hate speech, I believe you can go a little bit farther with terms of the legality of it, but not by much really. I still think people should be allowed to say pretty much whatever they want. At work, maybe not. They need to be a little bit more professional at work, but this is releasing a page, 10 pages, something that descriptive, that honestly seems to be a pretty productive way of being a part of Google. Because isn't Google one of the biggest companies in the world? And one of your employees just came out with a 10-page paper on how we could improve diversity by learning more about the other genders and where they are more inclined to be, have better skills. That seems like they're being pretty productive at work. It seems like actually his way of thinking could improve the company. But, uh, if none of you have seen it, I would definitely recommend watch the James Damore and Stefan Molyneux interview because I believe that was the interview. It was either that or the Jordan Peterson interview. I believe it was the Jordan Peterson one actually, where he did talk about how, I don't even know if he was on. I think he was on Stefan Molyneux. I'm not really sure, but he did talk about how Google is, the PC. It is as PC as you think it is. It really is, and they don't want to admit it. They want to hide it as much as possible. And he admitted it. He spilled the beans on all of that, and it's not really surprising because Google is Google, and it's actually really scary how Google thinks sometimes, because they're trying to make it affect everything they're doing. Google, YouTube. The thing about YouTube that made it awesome before was that people were free to just do what they wanted. And that's what made people wanting to keep coming back, because it had something for everyone. And now YouTube is straight up saying, oh, some of this content, no, it's not for everyone. In fact, you're going to be demonetized because we don't approve of this content. And just a quick side note, when people say that the demonetization is not like hindering on free speech, like you're still allowed to use their platform, you're still like it's a private company, they're allowed to do whatever they want. Yes, that is true. But they know fully well that taking away someone's monetization affects the amount of content that would be released there. So they do know that monetization has to do with what type of videos are being out there. That's not a lie. So, yeah, it's apparently illegal. And I remember another story just recently where I forgot the name of the game, but yeah, he was like, he listened to Paul Joseph Watson. He said a lot of different things that made him, seem on the right, and I think he was on the right. I think he was conservative, and he was fired from a game. Oh, Subnautica, that was the name of the game. Yeah, they fired someone for having different opinions and I think sharing Paul Joseph Watson videos. Again, no one should be discriminated based on the content that they watch, based on their opinions that they have, because again, those are opinions. I think people should be allowed to listen to those opinions. If they truly want those ideas to be gone, then they'll have to write really good arguments as to why we shouldn't have those things anymore. That shouldn't be too difficult, right? I mean, if you really, really are passionate about your beliefs, then you should know how to counteract every other one of them. So, I think Google should try to do that. If they really do believe that conservatism has no place in Google, I would love to see them make a 10 or 20 or 100-page memo as to why conservatism shouldn't be in Google. And if they make a good paper, then yeah, maybe then they're right. But I would like to see them try. I would love to see them try. And then I would love to see people counteract it. That's how we keep bringing good ideas into the main sphere, is when people counteract other ideas. But since he was fired and he really can't do anything about it, and then that's where that place stops. Even though I think we can go in a much bigger conversation as to why he shouldn't be fired, or maybe why he should be fired. Just to play devil's advocate for a little bit, even though I don't think he should have. But yeah, tell me what you think of this interesting little piece of news. I know JD, for example, loves hearing me talk. Come on, come on. I want you to say hi to the camera one more time. He's just very shy of this setup, but he loves the keyboard, so I just let him play on the keyboard. He's happy there, don't worry. He is happy. He is happy, even though you don't see him. He's a very happy bird. All right. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little piece of news. I'm sorry we couldn't do the podcast today. Hopefully we'll have one for next week, and I hope you guys will enjoy it when it comes up. All right. I've been Melvin, and I hope you have an amazing time whether on and off the internet. Take care.